Alright, welcome back to another video. I'm John from Northeast Elite Fishing. Thanks for joining me, and as you may have guessed, this video is going to be about Garmin LiveScope, or the lack thereof Garmin LiveScope. So let's get right to it. Was fishing a few days ago, got out, nice day, doing my thing, fired up the LiveScope, and it was working fine, no issues, and then all of a sudden I get the blue screen. Immediately thought, all right, dead battery, things like that. Played around with what I could out on the water, and of course had no success. Came home and did a few other things that, you know, I'd found online and so on and so forth, and decided it was time to elevate it and get with tech support with Garmin. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to go over the Garmin. I still have the old unit on there. It's still hooked up exactly how it was when I was out on the water and it failed. I'm going to show you guys what I saw, kind of the process that I went through with the tech support guys, so that you can kind of be prepared if you have the same problem. And then I'm also going to give you guys what I feel is a good suggestion to avoid potential problems down the road. Have a lot of experience with controls, control enclosures, things like that. Spent about 30 years building controls and doing electrical work and things. So have seen a lot of things as far as you know, NEMA 4 enclosures and rainproof and waterproof. So kind of have a pretty good idea of you know, how those things work and what would be expected of those individual pieces, so that they can survive the climate that they're put in. So we're going to take a look at all that. I'm going to flip the camera around so that you guys can see what I see, and let's get right to it. All right, gang, so here it is. You know, I think you guys have seen this thing pretty much in every one of my videos. So we have the Arc Labs Ice Shuttle. We have our 8612 mounted to that. In the back, our GLS 10. Coming off of that, we have our transducer, our LVS 34, and all the wiring and stuff neatly tucked away. All right, so out on the water the other day, and basically came in, powered up the Ice Shuttle like I normally would. You can see we have plenty of voltage there. Unit fired up fine, and continued to fish, waiting for the unit to stabilize after it goes through its startup. Now, what happened was initially, and you're not going to see that, it started up and was working fine. So I was putting the transducer down in the water, getting set up, doing my thing, and started to fish, and basically this is what happened. We got this blue screen. Now it's flickering for you guys, and I apologize about that. I'm not going to record it through my phone, which I could, but there's not a lot to follow along with here. So basically we got the blue screen of Garmin death, and in a little while an error message is going to pop up, and it is going to tell you that source not found, check network. Okay, so my initial thought was, all right, I got a loose cable somewhere. This thing is, you know, it gets bounced around quite a bit when you're out in the boat. You're flying around, moving from place to place. Maybe we have a loose cable. So what I did initially, basically came back here, and not a lot to choose from here. So transducer cable, network cable from the Garmin unit itself, and then power to the GLS 10. Made sure they were all tight. I even loosened them, put them back in, of course powered the unit down before we do that, and still no dice. All right, so now thinking, all right, we got a network issue. Checked the connection on the back of my 8612, still no dice. Checked the connection between the network cables, and of course same thing. Okay, so now we know we got a real problem. So got home and wanted to do a few additional checks. So basically, and I'm going to power this down. So we'll turn the unit off and I'll show you exactly the steps that I went through just to make sure before I called tech support that, all right, I know what's going on here and I have a good idea what I can tell them. So first thing is, you see this voltmeter, it's reading about 15.3. I'm sure that battery is good. However, stranger things have happened. So the best thing that you can possibly do is come back here. First of all, power down the ice shuttle itself. Come back here and disconnect your power cable from the GLS-10, and I'm gonna fish it back through so you guys can see the end of it. Check the end of that cable. Make sure there's no corrosion or anything in there in any of those pins. Come back over to the GLS-10, do the same thing. Make sure obviously nothing's broken off. Nothing is loose over here as far as the little nut that holds the round pin connector into the GLS-10. All right, so the last thing I wanted to do just to make sure that, you know, I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's was put a voltmeter on the power supply going to the GLS-10. We got those guys and we have 15.3 volts. Exactly what that says. I'm happy, I know we got power. All right, so after I verified that we had the proper voltage, my next thing was, all right, maybe we have some issue with the software. You know, maybe there's an update that I don't have. Maybe the last update got corrupted, something to that effect. So what I did was I went through the Active Captain and basically looked for the latest and greatest software, and I'm not really going to go in depth on how to do that. The Active Captain app is online. You guys can find that. What you would do is just real quick, My Marine devices, you'll want to be hooked up so that you have internet access. It will tell you that you have software available or not, and you can connect and basically grab that software. When you grab the software, you may have to switch over onto the network that your Garmin, your plotter is on, and sync it with the plotter. I don't have the ability to be on the internet and be on with that at the same time because we utilize Wi-Fi for our internet here. We don't have cellular service where I live, so I have to download the software, then connect to the chart plotter. If I'm out on the water or something, I can do it because I'll have cellular service as long as there's cellular service available where I am. But that quick, just a quick tutorial on the Active Captain. So we updated all the software, still same issue. No, you know, we weren't able to get any LiveScope. I'll go back home. You know, chart works fine. We still have our mapping, but when you go to sonar, LiveScope is basically dead. So the next thing that I was going to do is look at my status light. And what you're going to see is basically when you start your GLS-10 up, this will go red, solid red, and then basically switch over to green. What we're seeing here is a blinking red light, so there is a hard fault in this controller, and that is a good piece of information for you to have when you call tech support. Now you'll see it's going off, and it probably will come back on. Now it goes solid red, and then when it goes to the blinking red, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to count those blinks. That's a very good piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so on and so forth. And basically what you're going to want to do is you want to give that information to that tech support person when you call Garmin. Now, that brings me to the next piece, and that is, what do you do? So say you bought this thing at, you know, Bass Pro. I highly recommend you don't try to take it back to Bass Pro or call Bass Pro for any type of tech support. They're just not really going to be able to help you. They'll be able to run you through a few things. Did you update the software, so on and so forth, depending upon who you get. And at the end of the day, skip that step and go right to Garmin. Now, in your Garmin, when you purchased it, there's going to be a little card right here. And it basically is going to tell you just what I did tell you. Garmin is here to help. Before contacting your retailer, please visit Garmin product support first. And I'll put that, that website on. And basically, what you're going to find is when you go to that website, you will find a contact number. And I will also post that right now in the video. So get a pen out. Write that down because it's a good number to have. When you call Garmin, you are going to get put on hold. There's no doubt about it. These guys are busy, but there's kind of good and bad to that. So being that they're busy, they're taking time for each of their customers. And when I eventually did get through, which I did not wait on hold, you have an option to get a call back. And that was the option I took. So set up the call back, and basically about an hour and a half later, I get a call back from Garmin, and now I'm on the phone with tech support. We ran through basically what I just explained to you. We checked all the cables. We looked here for anything that was broken. He had me go through the cable to make sure there was nothing, you know, dropped on it or cuts in the cable that maybe I didn't know about. Had me check the end of the transducer, and basically after telling him the status with the blinks and, you know, it going solid and then blinking, he was very convinced that the GLS 10 unit had expired and it, you know, would need to get brought in and repaired. I will say this, Garmin tech support is excellent. These guys, they know this, they know this equipment very well and offer several options. So I have a trip planned for next week coming up, and, you know, obviously I want this thing functioning. So two options. GLS 10 could go back. You could box it up. They'll send you an RMA number and send you out another one once they receive it. Option two is you put a refundable deposit down. They automatically send you out a GLS 10. Then when they get yours back, they give a refund on that deposit. That was the option that I chose. Got my GLS 10 replacement today, and that's why I'm doing this video. So this is kind of a time sensitive video because now I've got to get it boxed up, the one, you know, the old one boxed up and sent back to Garmin so I can get my deposit back and go on my way. So the next step I'm going to take with you guys is I am going to open up the new GLS 10. We're going to get that hooked up and we're going to fire the unit back up, make sure everything works, and then probably the most important part of this video is how we're going to put this thing back together. So I hope you guys will stick around for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Once I get this thing opened up, it's a little bit easier with the camera mounted to my chest. I will get the camera mount, get that on, and I'll be back in a minute. Stick around. All right, gang, so got the GLS 10 unboxed and basically disconnected the cables from the old unit and got them connected up, transducer, network, and power to the new unit. They're identical, so we're ready to fire it up. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to switch power on here, and hopefully that comes up, which it does. We'll let that go through its paces, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what we could do to potentially avoid what I feel may have caused this problem. One other thing that I would like to note, and I have to give a tip of the hat to Garmin tech support. When I called and, you know, was put on hold, I was awful discouraged. Got the call back, took a while, and I was still discouraged until I started talking to the tech. So give these guys a break. They're working hard to help you solve your problem. And what I found was these guys really want to support the users of their equipment and stand behind their Garmin product. So my warranty was actually out by a few days, a week or so. It's telling me there's a software update install. I'll install that later because I want to verify that this thing is working and show you guys. But back to what I was saying, my warranty was out on my GLS 10 and the transducer, and they backed it. He backed it up and said, nope, we're going to send you out a refurbed one, certified refurbished one at no charge. So can't ask any more than that. I believe a GLS 10 to buy one is about $500, so I'll take it. Again, can't say enough about the guys, the tech support guys over at Garmin. So, all right, we are fired up. Blank screen because I have the LVS 34 transmission disabled. But what you could see on the unit now is you see that light is blinking green. That means it is connected and it's seeing it. So we got network connection, we got transducer. Now what I did, just because I don't like to run my transducer out of the water, just filled up a pail of water and stuck the transducer in there. We're not going to get any good depth or anything like that. It'll probably read a foot or something. So we'll fire up the 34. All right, transmit back on, and boom, there we go. We're lit back up. I got a crazy reading, but everything is back to where it should be. I'm in down mode because of the way I have the transducer set up in that water right there. Looks like everything is going to be back to functional, which is a big relief. Glad we were able to get this thing going. All right, I may have touched on this in an earlier video when I did the video on the internal parts of the ice shuttle and the wiring and things like that. All right, so when I originally had the ice shuttle set up, I had it set up, if you'll remember, you could go back and you could watch in my video, I had it set up on a seat post on the side of the boat so that it was at waist level. I wouldn't have to keep bending over to make adjustments, so on and so forth. We since switched over. We have the Larmac on there. It's around the same height. I think we gave up like 3 inches. But when I originally did the setup on the boat seat post, I had the GLS 10 mounted this way, and I really I had a gut feeling when I flipped it over, and the reason I did that is because with the cables hanging off the bottom, I could never put the ice shuttle down on anything without worrying about the cable. So I would always have to put it down on an edge of a table or put a block underneath the ice shuttle so that the cables had somewhere to go without getting crushed. So my thought back then was to create some sort of a curtain to go over this. Now, if you look very closely, and I tried to find out what this is actually rated for, the only thing that I could find on it was it's not rated to be submerged, which really kind of makes sense. I wouldn't think anything else. But if you look very closely at the connecting plate right here, where all the round pin connectors are connected to the unit, if you run your finger across, you're going to feel there's a lip all the way around. And I noticed this several times when I was fishing and always thought in the back of my mind, you need to get that covered up, you need to get that covered up. Looking at what's here, these are just a standard pin connector on each of these power, network, and transducer. They have a gasket in there, but let me tell you, from my experience working with these things many times, these are not waterproof. They may be weatherproof, but they are not waterproof. And basically what's happening is when it rains, with this being set very horizontal, almost level, the water builds up in this little area right here. And I would almost bet that some of that water was able to get behind one of these connectors and created my problem. So today we're going to fix that, because I'm not putting this guy on and going to damage it again. So what my thought was is I was thinking about making a little shield. I didn't want to add anything else to this. So what I'm going to try first is I'm actually going to flip this thing back over, but I'm going to move it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the set of holes that I'm using for the actual bottom. I'm going to flip it over. They're going to be in the same holes. It's just that this is going to go over here and this is going to go over here. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it right over so that it's mounted like this. Now I'll probably lose use of the handle, which is okay. I think I might still be able to get my hand in there. I really can't use the handle that much anyway because of the way my Garmin is set up. So unless I loosen this and flatten out the screen, I usually don't use the handle. I find myself picking it up by the sides more than anything. So I think it's a valuable improvement to put this facing that way. What led me to this, and this is, you know, I thought about this over and over when I was getting ready to do it. If you look very closely at the GLS 10, and I'll try to get as close as I can, you see where the screw hole is keyed. So when the bigger part of the key is down, that's where the screw would be inserted. That screw is made to slide up into that key, which means that when it's engaged on that smaller part of the key, cables are facing down and the 4 screws are resting on the small part of that keyed hole. I couldn't find any literature to back this up. Maybe you guys, if you have something, send it my way. I'd love to post it. In my mind, this thing is made to be mounted this way. Also, if you notice, it says Garmin on it. You mount it this way, it's not saying Garmin anymore. So this is the best piece of advice that I could give you. Strictly 100% my opinion, but I feel like it's going to make a huge difference. We're going to be able to take those cables then and come out and create a drip loop on each one of them. So as it rains on the cable, it'll run off and drip off the bottom of the cable. So I'm going to get set up. Need a few things. I need to first get the old one off, and basically the holes that are here are going to be used, and then we're just going to drill 2 new holes, one on each side, and we're going to mount that guy right there just like that. So stick around, let me get some tools and I'll be right back. All right, gang, got the old unit off, getting ready to put the new unit on. First thing that I'm going to do is I want to get an idea how big these holes are. Looks like I have, that looks like a 1024, probably by 3/4 pan head, and on the top I'll use these cap nuts so that if I do put my hand in there I don't get hit by the rough edge of the bolt. We'll put the other ones on the regular aircraft nylock nuts. We'll put them on the bottom. Won't matter because you're not going to be sticking your hands in there anyway. So easy way to figure out what hole size you need. Just start grabbing a bit that looks close, and that one's pretty close. We'll see if we can get one size bigger in that hole. That looks like a winner right there. In fact, I'm going to keep that one out. That's the one right there. So it's snug. Now we are going to lose just a little bit of our powder coating, but it really is not anything that's going to create an issue. There'll be a bolt in there, cover it up so there won't be any rough edge or anything on it for it to chip any further. All right, we got the right bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bolt this in place with the 2 lower ones, and that'll give us the position of where we have to drill the holes for the new one. I got the 2 bolts right inside. We're going to put one there And we'll get that guy started so it doesn't fall. We got that one, and then we'll come over here, we'll do this one. Now, I'm gonna take these in just a little bit, just so I can get an idea of, we want that thing down in the bottom of those keys, make sure that it's level. Oh, I wonder if I might just tighten them right up. That way I know I'm right where it's gonna be. All right, so now we just have to drill 2 holes. You can see now we have all the cables facing down, 2 holes, and we'll get that done. All right, if you're not confident, you know, in drilling and things like that, you may want to take your graph off of the shuttle. This is aluminum. It should drill real easy and right through and without a problem. And we'll do the other side the same thing. So just nice and easy. You don't have to put a ton of pressure on it. It's aluminum, so it's going to bite in and it's going to go through pretty quickly. You don't have to go speed demon. Just nice and easy. It'll break through, and almost all of the metal shavings will come off in one strip because it's a piece of aluminum. All right, we got our holes. We're ready to put our top bolts in, and we should be good to go. A couple little bits of stuff in there. I'm just going to tighten this guy down. All right, give them one last go around and make sure we got them all good and snug. Which is a good thing, because this one here, it didn't quite get in. All right, that's good. Those 2 on that side. I know this one's good, but we'll check it anyway. That's good. All right, now we are in much better condition. So we got GLS 10 facing down, rain goes here, runs down, and away it goes, away from my connections. Now, we're gonna have to reroute some of these cables, I believe, but I don't think it's gonna be anything too drastic. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse than this, but it looks like it's gonna be pretty cut and dry, actually. So, let's hook these cables back up. What I wanna do, and I think this is an important part, so the rain, you know, obviously is gonna hit in a vertical fashion. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a drip loop. And what that is basically the rain runs down, and instead of being able to run inside the connector, it'll run down and drip off down here. So I'll probably take and put a zip tie with a little, have a little black tab that I can pull this screw out and kind of secure them. You also notice that I'm not breaking the plane of the bottom of the ice shell. So when I put it down on a flat surface, it's not going to impede the cables at all. It's going to work perfectly. So I think maybe right there, I think maybe just like that looks pretty good. And that'll also give me a little support for this. In fact, I might even put an additional zip tie up on top here to give that cable a little bit of support, because I move this around quite a bit, and that would take care of that. So we don't want it to be too tight against the cable so that it rubs. We just want to kind of hold it in place. All right, we're just going to put one on the top here and one down here. In fact, I'm not even going to tab it to the unit. I'm just going to let it kind of free float, because it seems to be pretty happy where it is. And that should about do it. All our cables are hooked up. We got a nice drip loop here, loop there, so that when this moves around, it's not pulling on that connector and creating a problem. All our screws are nice and tight. We can still put the Garmin down on a flat surface and not have to worry about crushing any of the cables. and I think we're all set. Let's fire it up. There you have it. We got down mode going on. Of course, we're not going to get any depth because we're just in a bucket of water and it's sitting on the bottom of the bucket, but we have communications. Seems like everything is working fine. So that's going to about do it for me on this one, gang. I'm going to go install my software update and clean this thing up a little bit, and we are ready to get out on the water. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you guys will use the comment section of this video as kind of a forum to talk about some of the issues that you guys might have had with these. I really think, you know, as we build a discussion in that comment section, it's very helpful for people, because sometimes the manuals that come with these Garmin pieces are extremely hard to read and cumbersome to get around on. There's also, you know, manuals and tech support available online at Garmin, which is also quite lengthy. So if we can cut it down, get some like a Cliffnotes version, that's fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful. Hope you guys will hit that like. Hopefully you'll hit that subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon out on the water.